Just wanted to quickly add before the podcast starts, sorry for the poor audio quality for some of the parts. We just had some pretty bad mics, and anyways, enjoy. Hello, everybody. Another episode of the BenPlayz Podcast. Before we start, I just want to let you know we're now available on Google Podcasts and Spotify. So feel free to check us out there as well. And if you're watching this on YouTube, feel free to check us out on the Anchor app. Because, it's cool to see other platforms. Alright, so today we are not going to just be joined by one person. We have a total of 4 people, including myself, in the podcast. Today we're going to be joined by Elegant Seat, also known as Peyton.
Hello.
We're going to be joined by Cap Chappelle, also known as Brett. And finally we're going to be joined by Solar Spiker, also known as Jesse.
What's up?
So, there's this topic going around the community. It's pretty crazy. It's about if video games actually cause gun violence, because many famous figures like Donald Trump, Fox News especially, have been talking about how video games cause violence in real life. And basically, we all have a similar standpoint, and we all think that it doesn't. So, would anyone like to elaborate?
I will, actually. So, my personal opinion on this topic is I don't think it does. Most video games that are out there, like Call of Duty or Battlefield, they're based on, wars. It's happened before. But the games don't cause the violence, because violence has caused the games, basically. Because all these wars that are happening, they turn into video games. They turn into Call of Duty 2, Battlefield. Based off of wars. And there's a game Sniper Elite that's based off of wars and just the time of the Holocaust in Italy.
So, basically, what Peyton is saying and more is that the video games don't necessarily cause the violence that happens turns into the video games. But my personal standpoint on it is that video games are actually a stress reliever. It doesn't really make you violent. It actually relieves your violent tendencies because you get out all your anger. Exactly. And what people don't realize is that there was a graph that many people saw on the internet, which is basically where the amount of video game sales are way higher in other countries, but the violent gun deaths in other countries are way lower than ours. We're the only country with a bunch of violent gun deaths. But plenty other countries sell way more video games than us and have little to no gun violent shootings.
Exactly. See, one thing that I never really got was the fact that people are saying video games are causing violence, and they're glorifying the people who cause the violence. By glorifying the people who are causing the violence, if they hear, oh, they played video games when they were 5, and they're 13 now. Most of the stuff that I play now is Minecraft. It's not like I'm gonna break down a tree and then go commit some horrible crime. Something that adds to that is the fact that the media sees all video games as bad. Some video games are actually really great pieces of art. They can be seen by different people as different things.
Yeah, that's a good point. And another thing is, they are really over-exaggerating it and not hitting on the right point. Because there is a way that video games actually do make people a little more violent, but they're looking at it in the wrong way. They think all video games make all people violent. But here's the thing. Young kids getting exposed to these things. Because when you're around our age and you're playing violent video games, you know right from wrong. You know that shooting people in games may be okay, but you'll never ever actually shoot someone in real life. We know as really intense gamers that we would never hurt anyone in real life. I've played plenty of shooting video games, and I never want to hurt anybody under any circumstance. I feel violent towards some people. Games want to shoot them or hurt them that badly because that's messed up. But here's the thing. Little kids getting exposed to Fortnite. Now, Fortnite, you all know this already, but it's basically just a game where you drop into an arena and shoot people, which is the obvious. But the thing is, little kids are playing this game. I've heard from friends that even 3-year-olds play that game. And if 3-year-olds has just developed how to talk, they've just been introduced to the world. So how are they supposed to know that if in a game they could drop bus and shoot up all the opponents? Why can't they do it in real life? They don't know right from wrong yet. So letting a young child play Fortnite is wrong. Because they can't tell right from wrong, and they may actually hurt someone in real life. That is a different case.
Exactly. May it be an accident or not, I know from experience, I have my own little brother who plays, Roblox of all things, you know? It's supposed to be a really creative, fun game. They have some pretty dark stuff on Roblox. Like, what are they called? The SCP?
Phantom Forces?
No, the SCP things, whatever those are.
Oh, those things.
Yeah, the fictional characters made up from a Reddit post from Reddit. He basically lives by that stuff now, which is horrible. He shouldn't know what a murder scene is. He shouldn't know what any of that is. He's 5. He shouldn't know that stabbing someone can kill them. Not just that, he knows more of that than he should. Personally, it's exposure more than anything. Exposure is what ruins that. That's what they don't talk about, is the exposure from what they're exposed to.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty messed up. So Jesse, do you have any input on this before we close up topic?
Well, besides the being exposed to at a small age, mental illness can also have some part in it. Like, some could be mentally ill and play a video game that's basically GTA and try to commit it in real life. Like, there's some video game character.
Yeah, and this is what I think should happen in the future. If you're gonna blame video game violence on people with disabilities, we need to take action. So you should give background checks on people playing video games. Make sure their mental status is all clear and good. Because if you give a person who ain't right in the head and well-developed a violent video game, they're not going to know right from wrong either, like a little child. They're not going to know right from wrong, and you can't blame them. You have to blame the parents or the guardians for giving their mentally disturbed child such power and knowledge that they shouldn't know. Anyways, that basically wraps up the topic.
Actually, I'd like to add one more thing. Sorry.
You're fine.
But no, another thing. I just want to put this in there. It's not every day that I go to school and think I'm gonna be in danger because of what the media puts out. See, the thing is, I play video games. I'm playing a game right now, actually. As of making this podcast, I'm playing a game.
I am also.
But I'm playing Minecraft of all things. I'm not gonna become the next Heartland shooter. I can't legally obtain a gun. I know how to legally use one. I've gone to gun ranges with my uncle, and under strict supervision, I have used a gun. Guns shouldn't be a thing. This can actually lead into the next topic. Gun control. Guns shouldn't be the thing that are taken away from innocent people. The people who cause crimes and illegal activities are the bad people who get guns illegally through illegal methods. So taking away guns from the good people isn't helping them when they need to defend themselves from something that's gonna hurt them or harm their family.
Alright, let's tone it down, the mic rattling. Also, I'm gonna try to transition us into the gun violence. Well, not the gun violence, the gun control topic. That sounds like a good thing to talk about. So, any final words on video games causing violence before we transition? Alright, let's move on. So, gun control. Many people are for it and many people are against it. It's a very divided thing. To start it off, I honestly think that the only solution to this is just to add background checks because, it's not gonna help if you just take away all guns because the people who illegally have it are usually the criminals. So you're taking away power from the good people and giving it to the bad people. So the only way to really fix it is to get gun background checks, so you know who you're giving the gun to, if they're sane or not, and if they should have that power or not. Like if they're a criminal before, maybe restrict it.
Don't they do that somewhat
Not very greatly though.
No.
You have to have an ID or something like that?
Well,
yeah, but
yeah,
it's
you
not
have
really a background check.
Yeah. Actually, what is the legal age to own a firearm?
I believe
I think
they're
it's
18 or
16.
21.
I think it might be 16. I don't know. It may be.
Yeah, this is the topic. Gun control is almost like a double-edged knife, in a way. If you take it away from the good people, it's not gonna help, because taking guns away from responsible people just restricts them from being able to do their duties as a human being and saying, I'm carrying a firearm. I'm going to use this for good. I'm not going to use this for bad. I need to use this for good to protect those around me and myself. If they don't have that firearm, what are they going to use? What, knives? Oh wait, then what? What are you going to do when there's more knife killings than gun shootings? Exactly. Take away all knives, and how are we gonna cut things up? How are we gonna cut meat up? How are we gonna cut vegetables? See what I mean? It's such a double-edged knife, is that nobody can see what it really is.
Alright, so that basically covers the whole topic. Any final remarks? Anybody?
No, not really.
Alright, so there's one last topic I want to do before we wrap things up in the podcast, and it's the social pressure at school. In my first podcast, I went into depth about how school has this pressure, all these people are depressed looking, and things just are rough. But I kind of wanted to talk today about, how school, just all the pressure a student on average feels at school.
Okay, hold on. Before we start this, in Google, as of right now, I'm typing in school makes me sad, feel like I want to die, anxious, makes me cry, school makes me feel too tired to want to live. That's what students are saying about school.
That's heartbreaking, dude. But here's the thing. For all of you students right now, because I do know that there are many students who watch this podcast, my direct message to you is, if you feel stressed, if you feel anxious, you're not alone. I can guarantee you about 90% of the people who are around you in each of your classes feel the exact same way, if not worse than you do. So, this is where my specialty is. I love talking about life and people in general. So, as a human being, when we reach the ages of around 10 through high school, we have this huge pressure, this huge burden on us to be cool, be popular, and look good in front of everybody. Because that's the kind of pressure we just feel. It's puberty, it's our natural hormones, we can't help it. We try to look good. But what us as humans don't quite realize is that everybody feels the same way. And everyone is too busy worrying about themselves rather than worrying about you. So why worry about yourself? I mean, what's the point?
No.
Just...
I agree with that.
And I want to say, I'm speaking to those certain people out there. I myself, most people don't know, I used to have depression. I used to suffer from depression. And it's mainly school. School is anxious. It's really hard on you, especially when you're starting off or getting into the higher grades. There's more work, more pressure put on you. And just those people who feel like they can't handle it anymore, don't ever feel that way. Just seek help. Go to a counselor. If you think you need more, ask for a therapist. Get the help you need to help you through this, and you'll be perfectly fine. It worked for me, it's gonna work for you.
Yeah, I agree and disagree with that at the same time. Now, some situations, if you feel really depressed, like suicidal and stuff, then go see help. But some situations,
Hotline.
you can get all the psychological therapy just from talking it out with people. Like, I had this huge pressure on me, but when I speak about it to other people who are...
Yeah, just like speak to people who are close to you, feel like you could trust to just tell them this information you're going through.
So, here, let me resume what I was saying. I just had a quick interruption. So, sometimes when you just talk it out with people, it just helps your stress. You feel so much better when you talk about your situations to people who are in the similar problem with you. And it's a symbiotic thing, because not only are you getting out all this pressure out to a friend who cares, they feel better too because they know that they're not alone. So it helps both parties in this situation when you talk about it to others about your problems. Some things you should keep to yourself, but stuff like school anxiety and stuff, other people will help you with. It's important to speak to your peers because they'll understand you better than some people will.
Yeah, and it's just important to know that if you're going through stress, there's always someone you can talk to, just no matter what. There is always be someone that will take time out of their day or what they're doing to just talk and just help with what you want to talk about or what you feel you need to talk about.
Yeah. So, alright. That also sums up what we're going to talk about now. The podcast is starting to get a little bit on the long side. So any final remarks you want to have for this topic before we wrap up the podcast?
Just know that someone will always care about you. No matter what happens.
That's a good thing to leave off on. Alright guys, special thanks to the people who joined me today. Thank you to Spotify for actually accepting my podcast, even though I'm a small one. Also to Google Podcasts, all that good stuff. All the people who are accepting me, appreciate it. It's nice to give me a kickstart into the community. Thank you all. Thank you to the people who are watching. And this is BenPlayz and crew signing off. I'll see you next podcast.
Goodbye.